What is up? Welcome back to LSU Live. It's your host, Lewis Johnson. It's Ole Miss Hate Week. And look, if I got to get y'all fired up for Ole Miss, I don't know what to tell you. But on that note, I'm fired up for another reason. I got a very special guest I've been trying to get on here. For those who don't know, this is the pride of the 318, former advocate, super dozen recruit, came to LSU, played late 90s, early 2000s. We got former LSU linebacker Jeramy Lawrence. Welcome to the show, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, no problem. Appreciate you coming on. I know we might not want to admit it, but look, we getting old. So yeah. I just want to refresh a few people who might not be as familiar with you. Talking about a guy that went from like I said, a big time recruit to redshirt in his first year, made freshman all conference, all SEC as a freshman. And I want to ask you about this because it was kind of funny. I just learned it recently. LSU got a new coach in the late 90s. And from what I saw, you were kind of, I guess, hesitant to roll with him. So why did Nick Saban's arrival make you consider transferring from LSU?
Because, I mean, all we knew about him was LSU beat him in the bowl game. That's all we knew. You know, we didn't know who he was. You know, right. Mark Emmert was the athletic director at the time. He had just took over, and he was trying to, change. I guess it was a big time hire, but we didn't know who he was. But we found out who he was pretty quick.
Yeah, y'all and everybody else. That just goes to show how time passes and the perception of people change. Really, it wasn't just y'all. A lot of people weren't that familiar with Saban at that time, and since that time, both Saban and LSU have gone on to thrive. So I think it worked out for everybody. Definitely worked out for you. You had a good career, 4-year starter. But one of the things that kind of stuck with those teams, you kind of built in expectations during your era of defensive dominance. So if you've been, still keeping up with LSU over the past few years, you know that defense wasn't quite the same. It was. I'm gonna be honest with you. It was embarrassing at times, especially a couple years ago.
Yeah, it was.
So I want to get your perspective from this. How does it feel to see this LSU defense perform closer to the level where they should be this year?
Man, I was just talking to Rohan about the defense. Man, they playing fast, man. And they playing fast. I like how they playing and mean too. They got a lot of depth and they athletic. And the main thing, they finally put Harold Perkins at the right position.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because it kind of lead me into my next question. So when you were playing, you had defensive ends and you had outside linebackers. Well, you just had linebackers. You didn't have the kind of hybrid rush outside linebackers stand up and come off the end. And you were one of the kind of pioneers in to play at that level in that role. Now you also played some sound too, so you were well rounded. But I want you to talk more about how they're using Harold Perkins. Do you like the way they're using him? They're moving him around, and is this probably the best job that you think the defensive staff has done with him?
Yeah, they do an amazing job. But I was telling somebody a couple of years ago, he's not a linebacker per se, and he's not a defensive end. He don't have a lot of moves. He's speed. He's a spy, and they got him at the right position right now. We can just go. You can tell he's reacting more instead of thinking. Last year he was playing linebacker and getting used to it because I had to do the same thing. I didn't know what I was doing when I moved to linebacker.
Right.
But you can tell he's comfortable right now. And then with the Weasley brothers, they just got a good defense, man, like all across the board.
They really do. All three levels. And with so many people standing out right now, it's kind of hard to even decide. You can't pick out one or two difference makers. Everybody's playing at the high level. Defensive line is light years better than they played last year, but you're so deep at that position, everybody's fresh, and you got new and good players. So if you could give out an MVP on their defense at this point, I know it's still early. Who would you give out an MVP to?
Oh man, I don't know about that, man, because I'm kind of. I like them weeks, bro. I like Harold Perkins, man. Them DBs playing pretty good too. I mean, like I said, man, they playing so good right now. Like it's almost like a different person step up and do something kind of amazing every week.
Yeah, yeah, it really
Like,
is. DBs, man. You going 4 deep just at corner, and I ain't even talking about the safeties yet. How much better the safeties playing? You had a backup safety who played 9 snaps against Florida and was defensive player of the week in the nation, and didn't even get 10 snaps.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I didn't. That was crazy.
Yeah,
But that ball got to come out fast now, though, man. That ball ain't sitting up there no more. That ball coming out fast. Cause like I said, the thing of they really rushing pretty good with their D line, and when Harold Perkins get out them, I mean, and he good at finding them open lanes and just getting after people, man. Like just attacking it.
yeah, acceleration crazy. Like once he go, like you said, the ball got to come out. And on that note, so Ole Miss, you got a new quarterback. Well, not new anymore. He started a couple of games now. And to be honest, it was a bad break for the starter in Austin Simmons, but it was also a bad break for LSU because this dude is better than Austin Simmons. And I think from what I'm seeing, Simmons is probably close to being healthy. But Trinidad Chambers is going to remain the starter. Have you got a chance to see Ole Miss any yet?
Not really, but I did look him. I looked him up the other day when I was talking about him starting. I watched a couple of little highlights and watched a little film on him. He pretty nice. I mean,
Yeah.
Simmons young, man. I mean, hopefully he don't leave. I mean, that's the big problem right now. People leave and not want to stay, but Simmons will have his time. I think they got pretty good though.
Yeah, Simmons shows a lot of promise, and what he did, the mistakes he made early in the year, you kind of expect that from a young quarterback. You got to take your lumps. You're gonna have some bad decisions while you're learning.
Yeah.
But as far as Chambers, you got an older guy, smart guy. He knows what he's seeing. He's more comfortable. But he was pretty accurate too, from what I saw. And you got an athletic guy, so if you're running the defense, how would you defend a guy like that?
Man, you got to get out to him.
Yeah.
You can't be scared of him. I went to a game yesterday, Catholic versus Madison Prep, and they had this quarterback in Madison Prep that was pretty fast, 9th grade. And they were trying to spy and stay back and not like send nobody. And they won the game because they had so many players, but they didn't really affect their quarterback. You got to send them out there, man. You can't just sit back there and let somebody. The guy athletic, I think he won a national championship at the level of the level he was on.
Yeah, at Ferris State.
Yeah, I just looked him up and was talking about him with somebody today. I think, if I'm Lane Kiffin, I'm not going back to Austin Simmons right now. You got an older guy that picked up on the system pretty fast, and I mean he fit Lane Kiffin offense pretty good too. So
yeah, he has a different element because he's more athletic. Like Lane likes to do a threat quarterback, but he's more athletic than most of Lane's quarterbacks he's had, and he's accurate too. So you think you'd rather attack him instead of trying to contain him, and you're not really rushing him or affecting him as much.
I'm trying to hit him, man.
Yeah,
I'm not because sitting back don't never work, man.
Yeah.
Like people they do Lamar Jackson like they try to sit back. You got some people out there. Try to affect him or whatever. He need to see people rushing past him and trying hitting him and all that stuff, trying to affect him some kind of way. Because the thing about LSU, we have somebody athletic enough to keep up with him if he get out in the open. So really don't. We got to send out. We're gonna go at him. I'm pretty sure.
I would agree because look, Baker has shown. Look, he's going at everybody he's played against, and Baker was going at people when he didn't even have the DBs to go at people. So I think it's needless to say he has them now. So I wouldn't expect anything different. You got a prediction for the game against Ole Miss?
Oh man, you can't ever predict the Ole Miss LSU game, man. It don't even matter who the best team is that time. Like it just, I think we're gonna beat them. I'm always going for LSU, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna beat them. I think we win by 2 touchdowns if we get after them.
Yeah, I think it's a bad matchup. Because Ole Miss took such a big step back defensively on the other side of the ball. We're talking about the quarterback, but Ole Miss had a lot of dogs on their D-line last year. And they replaced them, but not to the level of the guys they lost. They lost, like, I'm talking about first through third round type talent. 3 guys on that D line, and everybody's been running the ball against them. So even though LSU hasn't had much success running the ball, I think if you don't get it against Ole Miss, then you're pretty much not gonna get it. But at the same time, Nussmeier looks healthy too, so you can run your full offense. And I understand that last week you played against Southeastern if you're Nussmeier, but it wasn't so much about the opponent. Sometimes you just need to see him make those throws, see how healthy he looks, and see how comfortable he looks. And in my opinion, he looked pretty comfortable. But look, man, I wanted to make sure that people understand the level of athlete we got on the show tonight. You know, this was we're fortunate to have them on. A lot of times you have guys who play in an era where they get kind of overshadowed. You look at guys like a Duke Riley. He played with Devo Jones. Nobody talked about Duke Riley. Russell Gage played with DJ Shark. So people forget about Russell Gage. He's still in the league. So you played with Brady James and Trell Falk, but you still held your own as a beast. Like I said, you kind of were a trailblazer with that position rushing off the edge. So want to make sure you appreciated by the LSU Nation. Make sure you know that, and make sure the people who are not familiar with you look up Jeramy Lawrence. Do the beast.
I sure appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no problem, man. I appreciate you having on. Appreciate you coming on, and I'll be sure to ask you back sometime. Take care, man.
All right, man. Thanks.
No problem.